Hello friends! Today I am so excited to bring you this really great mod about beekeeping and brewing mead. So get all cozy with your cup of tea with me, maybe even light a little candle with a vintage candle holder, and let's dive right into it. This should not be a new website to you. This is the Plumbob Keep, otherwise known as medievalsims.com. I get pretty much everything that they have ever uploaded is in my game, and it should be in yours as well. What's really fantastic about these mods is that they do historical versions as well as modern versions, so you can kind of see these apiary sets, bee boxes here, as well as some actually like Skyrim options. So that's pretty cool. They recently updated the mod. Before, it was basically targeted at like harvesting honey and processing honey, but they've actually done a couple improvements, like improving the base harvest yields. They've added trait support, which is something that Plumbob Keep has been adding to a lot of their mods, especially as traits in The Sims 2 kind of really start to pick up steam. I've been using them as well. They have also added more honey flavors, which is so cool, and mead making and consumable mead. Now, if you are part of the Discord, you know that we love our alcohol over there, and I am so excited because mead is fantastic. It's actually like one of the first things that I sold when I worked at the Renaissance Festival a long time ago. So you can see that there are really two types of hives. We have a Skyrim one and a more realistic honeycomb style. I use the more honeycomb style one, at least I think this one is the honeycomb one. I've never played Skyrim, so I'm a bad frame of reference here. In the older version of the mod, you really need to have one of these styles of like harvestable hives. They will appear every 48 hours in this tree stump, in the tree log, or in the hanging hive that you can collect the queen cells or the hive from. And then you go on to, here you can see the collected beehives. You go on to place that in one of these skeps, in one of the beehive boxes or any of that. And then you can start collecting from that if you want to actually like grow your bee harvest. Teens through elders can use the beehives and collect the jars of honey. You can collect a beehive, a jar of honey. Also important to note that you do need some degree of mechanical skill to actually harvest anything from the hives. Otherwise, they get this great interaction where they get attacked by bees and the collection is unsuccessful. It's really comical to watch, if we're being honest. But here's kind of what the raw honey looks like. You can collect raw honey, honeycomb, that kind of stuff, and then process the raw honey into like real consumable honey. They're both technically consumable and can go in your fridge as points, I believe. But if you want to do anything with like flavors or anything like that, then you do need to collect it and process the honeycomb. You can harvest the honeycomb regularly throughout the spring, summer, and autumn seasons, and queen cells can be used and harvested to make new colonies, so you can continue to grow your bumblebee colony into something that hopefully can save the country and the world. As always with Plumbob Keep, there are some consequences here. So your hive is susceptible to parasites, especially in the spring and autumn seasons. And so you can collect thyme, mint, lemongrass, and water, and using that you can treat the parasites. I know a lot of people end up creating like these kind of spreadsheets so that they know what does what needs what, because like I would never remember on my own, like, okay, thyme, mint, lemongrass, water. So sometimes it's helpful just to kind of note these things down before you actually play with it. And in the winter, there is a chance that the hives are threatened with starvation when it's excessively cold or deep snow on the lot, which is so cool. And so you can feed the bees their own honey to give them a chance at survival. So basically all you have to do is take a harvested honeycomb to the bee box and select treat starvation. There's a random success chance and failure chance. Something that is also kind of cool is that once you reach a mechanical skill level of 7, you will receive a Writ of Mastery, which is something we've seen in a lot of other Plumbob Keep mods as well. And this essentially declares that your sim has become a master, reached the master level in the beekeeping trade. And so this will just be placed into their personal inventory. And as long as they keep it in their inventory, they can produce exclusive items to use for sale, and only adults and elders are able to achieve the master status. So this is kind of cool because you could sort of use this in your medieval towns with apprentices. Teenagers are apprentices, they can't reach the master status yet. I think there's a lot of interesting gameplay ways that we can actually use this. Here's kind of like a little glance at all of the skeps and beehives. As you can see, we do have some more modern ones here, as well as these beautiful rustic skeps. I actually use a lot of the skeps. Sometimes I use the hollow logs. I don't really use the other ones, although the Skyrim ones do look pretty cool. I think they're just a little more expensive. As always, we have to talk about the processing. So once you've collected 6 honeycombs, it's time to use the press to filter out the honey, and sims with a mechanical skill of 4 or higher will by default produce clover honey, as this tends to be the most common type. And once you're finished doing this, you will receive 6 jars of honey and 1 bucket of raw beeswax, which can be used to make candles in some of the other mods. The press itself comes in 18 Pooklet colors and can be found as usual under the Buy catalog, hobbies, and miscellaneous. So let's talk a little bit about the flavored honey. So if a sim has a Writ of Mastery in beekeeping in their personal inventory and there are specific botanicals on the lot, the option to make different types of honey appears on the press. What is really neat here is that you don't actually need to harvest those plants or trees. It just has to be anywhere on the lot. I think this is so cool and so realistic, based on the types of like flowers the honey or the bees actually like take pollen from. So we've got our clover honey here. You can choose the different jar types. We've got apple blossom, blackberry, rosemary, lavender, orange blossom, blueberry. There are also some collection tools that can help you do autonomous actions associated with this as well. This is really great if you have a lot with like a lot of these on it and you just want your sims or your servants, domestic servants, to actually just kind of like autonomously take care of things. Now, for the part that is new to me, we have mead. Mead. So excited. I haven't had mead in a long time. So there are 8 types of mead, and each box that you produce provides 8 servings, and each serving has consequences. So you're gonna have to reference the use manual for all possible outcomes, or you can just let it be a surprise. Children through elders can participate in drinking mead, but younger sims aren't advised to. So I'm kind of wondering here if we have some consequences specific to children and maybe teenagers. I am so excited to play with this. So when it comes to mead brewing, you can see we've got a couple items here. We have the brewing vat and the mead must pot. Brewing requires the cooking skill, and the higher the skill, the more options a sim can use or partake in, so long as they have the proper ingredients in their inventories. Of course, some of these actions do require the Writ of Mastery in brewing in their inventories. So when a brewing cycle has completed and your sim has a large barrel in their inventories, they will be able to collect a large keg of the type of booze that was created. And this large keg can be sold as is or broken down into 20 edible servings. That is incredible. I'm honestly not sure what must making is, but sims require no cooking skill to make honey must, just water and clover honey. If you have played with this, if you are a fan of the mead brewing, go ahead and let me know in the comments below if you have any tips or tricks. Oh great, we've already got the pink soup starting. Good. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.